Very good morning to everyone joining us today. So it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of WRA India to the launch event of the Energy Access Explorer platform for the state of Nagaland. I am Abdul Khalid from the WRA India Energy team, and I will be taking you through the agenda of the day. At the outset, I'd like to inform you that today's event is a hybrid event, as many of our guests are joining us online for this event. This event will be covered by several news outlets, and this will be a recorded event, and the video will be uploaded to our website and our social media pages. I would also kindly request everyone to put their phones on silent mode during the event. I would like to request our honorable guests to join us on stage so that we could felicitate them. So please, Sir Shri Abu Mehta sir. Please. Kevichusa sir. Engineer Inahopi Avumi sir. Dr. Chakrashri Tatseo sir. And my colleague Ms. Akanksha Saklani. Sir, sorry sir. Mr. Ramakrishnan sir, please. I would like to call upon Bharat. Please come forward so that you can felicitate. And Masfik. Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone. Now I'd like to first call upon Mr. Bharat Jairaj, who is going to deliver the welcome address and give a brief description for the EE platform. Bharat is the Executive Director of the Energy Program at WI India, a program which seeks to inform and catalyze India's transformation to clean energy through increased use of renewable energy and energy efficiency. He is a Senior Associate with the WRI's Governance Center and co-leads the Global Electricity Governance Initiative. Please.
Good morning, everyone. This feels a bit like school. The first rows are empty and everyone's at the back. Perhaps can I request some of you to come in front? It looks very sort of dark behind. Can I request some of you to come in front, please? Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you, but particularly the dignitaries on the dais. It's a privilege and an honor for us to be here today. Let me begin by acknowledging and congratulating the state of Nagaland and specifically Ms. Pangnon Konyak, the first woman member of parliament from the state of from the state in the Rajya Sabha to be appointed to the panel of vice chairpersons and create history when she presided over the House on July 17th, 2023. I think we should give her a round of applause from here. This very well demonstrates the recognition of the state at the national level and recognition not only of Nagaland, but also the remaining Ashtalakshmi states, the major role that will be played by these states as the growth engine of the new India that's emerging. In line with India's national determined contributions or its climate change commitments, the northeastern states are going to play a non-trivial role in contributing to the ambitious 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel target set by the government of India. The potential for renewables is significant, but realizing this is not going to be, is not without challenges. Alongside climate change and clean energy targets, there is also the need to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We know that almost 125 of the 169 targets that are SDG targets require some form of energy, whether we are talking about access to drinking water, sanitation, or providing safety, or indeed achieving health or education outcomes. As we all know, India has made significant progress in achieving near universal household electrification through targeted interventions like the Saubhagya electrification scheme, which has resulted in close to 100% household electrification. However, there are still some gaps, specifically on issues of reliability in supply, and importantly, the electrification of social infrastructure like health facilities, schools, and rural livelihoods. We saw this during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the lack of reliable electricity for health facilities significantly impacted our ability to provide urgent medical services like vaccines, vaccine storage, oxygen concentrators, and other critical medical equipment. And as we think about growing and improving our growth numbers in the country, we have to make sure we do not leave any region or anyone behind. And this is important because in Western research and studies, energy poverty is considered significantly to be at the individual or household level. But in developing countries like in India, we have tended to define energy poverty as being primarily about access to adequate infrastructure and about security. And the progress in household electrification often masks the significant gaps in energy services, in health, in energy, in education, in livelihoods and other sectors in rural and remote areas. Let me also talk about the issue of climate vulnerability. As we know, the state of Nagaland falls in a highly vulnerable seismic zone, which makes it a very high risk zone. And combined with more than national average rainfall annually and other natural disasters like landslides ensue. These lead to disruption of existing energy supply infrastructure. And so it's critical as we design and develop future energy plans and policies, we keep in mind not just future growth in energy demand and industrial demand and so on, but also climate resilience and socio-economic development outcomes. With this, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Energy Access Explorer, which is what we are here today to learn and talk about. Energy Access Explorer, or EAE, as we often refer to it, is an open source GIS-based platform that seeks to help in better decision-making for government and for other stakeholders. Over the last few years, we have developed the Energy Access Explorer for the states of Jharkhand and Assam. And today we have the privilege of launching the Energy Access Explorer for Nagaland. Now, before we develop the Energy Access Explorer, energy access gaps usually, and if you all think about it, energy access gaps were usually shown as a percentage. We would often say 20% of schools are unelectrified or 30% of something else and so on. And what made it difficult to do is identify where these problems were. And so Energy Access Explorer tries to go beyond that. And what we decided to do was geolocate these specific areas, these specific gaps that got left behind, and provide visibility, in a sense, visibility to the invisible. So we moved them away from being in tables, a percentage, to actually saying where exactly is the energy access gap, what is the kind of energy demand that is being unmet or undermet, and so on. So it also can help decision makers then identify solutions to fix those gaps. And over the past few years, state government agencies have been using the Energy Access Explorer for a range of issues. For instance, in Jharkhand, the Renewable Energy Development Agency used the Energy Access Explorer's multi-criteria analysis feature to prioritize 100 public health facilities for electrification under the Chief Minister's scheme. Now, similarly, in Assam, the government is using the Energy Access Explorer to prioritize climate vulnerable villages that need immediate and urgent infrastructure upgradations. Now, you'll hear more about the Energy Access Explorer and how it can be used and is being used from my colleagues, Akansha, who's also sitting at the dais. There's also some literature on your tables. Please feel free to read those and also click on the QR codes and learn more about the Energy Access Explorer. We are really glad to have a galaxy of experts from the state of Nagaland with us this morning. And I'd also like to let you know that we are going to share a letter of intent with the chairman of IDAN, expressing our commitment to continue partnering with the government of Nagaland to extend and expand the Energy Access Explorer such that it can strengthen and support decision-making in the state. The strength of the Energy Access Explorer is really the integration of multiple layers of spatially explicit data, and my colleagues will talk more about this in the coming session. We hope we can make the Energy Access Explorer more relevant and useful to all departments in Nagaland state in the coming months, and we look forward to partnerships with many and all of you. With these words, let me welcome all of you and especially the people, the galaxy of experts on the dais to today's morning's launch of Energy Access Explorer, and hand this back now to my colleague Abdul.
Thank you, Bharat, for laying down the context of the session and providing a great introduction to the EA platform. Now it's my pleasure to invite Shri Abu Mehta sir to come forward and do the honor of launching the Energy Access Explorer platform for the state of Nagaland.
I'm happy to launch the Energy Access Explorer by WRI India and dedicate this to the people of Nagaland.
India is the world's third largest producer of renewable energy, and it aims to increase its renewable capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030. However, being the world's most populated nation, India has a massive demand for energy to fuel its rapidly growing economy. This calls for diversifying the sources of energy generation and tap into newer sources of renewable energy. This energy supply can be used to cater to the energy needs of the unserved and underserved areas within the region. But expansion of energy services requires granular data and analytical tools combining the energy supply with the growing demand for an integrated energy planning. To that end, Energy Access Explorer EAE an online, open-source, interactive platform that compiles and analyzes electricity and development data in select states of India such as Jharkhand and Assam, will now expand its footprints to Nagaland. It adopts an integrated, data-driven approach to powering development. The platform helps planners and decision makers to visualize unmet and undermet electricity demand for institutions and prioritize associated interventions. It summarizes the status of energy access and development for the areas that you are interested in. EAE attempts to provide latest data by tracking key performance indicators. It collects this data on a common platform to support integrated and holistic decision-making.
The Energy Access Explorer is a first of a kind open source granular geospatial tool that can be used to identify where energy services are required, what are the potential areas that can be decarbonized using renewable energy. I'm really thankful to my colleagues that they're launching the Nagaland datasets. We've had very good success both in Jharkhand and Assam. It's a great opportunity for northeastern states to leapfrog in energy services planning. I encourage all of you to explore this Energy Access Explorer and really first-hand experience how data-based energy access planning can be done.
Visit www.energyaccessexplorer.org to know how better data can support expansion of accessible, reliable, and affordable energy services for all.
Thank you. So now I'd like to call upon Sir Abu Mehta so that you can deliver a keynote for the audience, please. Yes, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, for this morning's program. And thank you, Mr. Bharat, for that fantastic introduction and an eye-opener into the work that you're doing across the country and also here in Nagaland. Respected guests on the dais, led by the Development Commissioner, Mr. Ramakrishnan, my good friend, Mr. Kevitsisa, and other dignitaries on the dais, my friends from the press and media, officers from various government departments, invitees, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I bring greetings from the Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland. Yesterday, I was in a conversation with him about this project which we are launching today. He expresses and conveys his appreciation to WRI, and also he's very excited about the project and keen to learn more about it. To begin with, I want to congratulate and thank WRI India for this wonderful initiative. The other day, your team of officials had come to my office and given me a brief glimpse and introduction to this project which you are launching and the software that is going to be available. So I want to say thank you, and I want to say congratulations to every member of the team for the wonderful work you've done. I understand the fact that data collection in Nagaland is not the easiest job in the world. Our connectivity problems, logistical problems, and a lot of challenges that come along with it. And we appreciate the role you played, the contributions you make, and the work you've put in. I also want to extend appreciation to WRI for coming to the Northeast and starting from Assam and Nagaland. This is the far corner of the country, many a times the forgotten part of India. Your role, your contribution, and your participation in our collective quest to achieve sustainable development, sustainable progress is well appreciated. And I must say, it is your role, your contribution, and your participation in the nation building process. I also am looking forward to more partnerships, to more collaborations with WRI. I have already in these last few days discovered that you have a fantastic team of professionals and experts, and you are doing wonderful work, not just here in India, but across the globe. I had a chance to study some of the reports that you're putting up on your portals, and I am hopeful that this type of research, this type of studies, and this type of platforms will reach our people here. The Northeast needs to come to the front and center of the national narrative, and we need players like you to play a contributory role. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India will not develop if Northeast is not developed. Today, you and I understand the dynamics of where we are placed, the geopolitics of the Northeast, the geopolitics of India in this region. The Northeast and Nagaland is in the heart of India's plan, the subcontinent's plan to reach the ASEAN region. The Trans-Asian Highway cuts through the heart of 3 to 4 districts of Nagaland, other states of the Northeast, and enters this ASEAN region. 10 countries of the ASEAN and the Far East beyond, the fastest growing economy in the world as a collective group of nations, life expectancy of more than 70 years, the biggest spending market, and over and above that, below us, Bangladesh, South Asia's fastest growing economy, second largest nation on earth above us, and now with more than 1.43 billion people, the most populated country on the earth is India on our west. The potentials, the geopolitics, the importance, and the significance of the Northeast and Nagaland can never be undermined. In fact, these are exciting times for us, considering the fact that the Asian economy is now the biggest economy in the world. Asia says, this is our time. How exciting that Nagaland, the Northeast, is going to grow up, is going to develop, it's going to progress in our time when the Asian economy is going to rule the world. India is targeting to reach a 5 trillion economy. Every state is setting targets for itself that it will also set targets of its own economy. The other day I was in Delhi attending the NDA meeting where the Chief Minister of Maharashtra said, even as India has announced a 5 trillion economy target, Maharashtra has set itself a 1 trillion economy target within the same time span. In this context, Nagaland has to look at its roadmap of economic progress, sustainable development, and infrastructure growth. What are our targets? What are our roadmaps? Towards realizing and working towards this roadmap, under the vision and leadership of Chief Minister Nipio Rio, the state government, under the leadership of IDAN, the Investment and Development Authority of Nagaland, has set up a special expert committee to work on an economic roadmap for Nagaland. This expert committee will synergize with all development departments in Nagaland. Their expertise will be brought in, a roadmap will be worked, and they will work closely with the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Panel. This roadmap will be discussed at the level of the State Cabinet, and hopefully within a short time frame, the roadmap will be able to be presented to the Prime Minister by our Chief Minister. We are using experts, young, energetic, and dynamic officers, policymakers, policy implementers, and decision makers in this committee. And I am hopeful that the submissions, the findings, and the research put in by this committee will be a game changer in the years to come. When we talk about progress development, one of the backbones has to be energy. Without energy, no idea, no development, no progress can move ahead. And when we talk about energy, we should have energy roadmaps not for now, but for 25, 50, 100 years from today. The world is today moving towards a direction where dependency on renewable sources are to be increased. India has made commitments at the world stage in the Paris Agreement, in Edinburgh. Nagaland is also part of those agreements and those commitments as being part of this great nation. As India rises to be amongst the superpowers of the world, our energy needs continue to grow. It is the same in Delhi, it is the same in Nagaland. But towards reaching those aspirations, we must also plan that our energy needs, our energy plans, our energy infrastructure is sustainable, is responsible. We have to bring up a new generation of youth, a new generation of Nagas who are responsible in their lifestyles, who contribute towards humanity, and who are understanding and appreciative of global concerns. This government under Chief Minister Rio has a responsible approach towards these needs: sustainability, conservation of the rich biodiversity of the state, sustainable development, not just in infrastructure, but in tourism, are strategies and roadmaps which this government has been working on and will continue to work on. We look forward to partnerships with organizations like the WRI so that we can collectively share each other's knowledge and move towards our collective aspiration. I am hopeful that this software, this website, and these platforms will now be available to everybody. Information and knowledge has to be shared. We cannot keep it within closed doors. Today, this platform will be available to government agencies, NGOs, schools, institutions, private stakeholders, entrepreneurs. Everybody across the board will get access to this, and for which I'm grateful to WRI. And I'm sure it's going to play a vital role in whatever we plan, be it small, be it big. And I call upon WRI to continue to work with us so that we can increase the scope of this software, we can increase the scope of this platform, where we bring in more layers, more information, and contributes towards a new narrative for Nagaland. Thank you very much for having me this morning. Thank you to all the participants for giving your time, energy. Thank you, WRI, once again. God bless Nagaland.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words and your inputs regarding EA platform. So before I move forward, I would like to call upon Mr. Bharat Jairaj once again on the stage so that he can hand over the letter of intent to our honorable chief guest, Shri Abu Mehta sir. Now I would like to move forward and call upon my colleague Akanksha Saklani to come forward on the dais and provide an introduction to the EA platform. She is a program manager at WRI India and is leading the development of Energy Access Explorer for the platform in India. So requesting you to please take this.
Thank you, Abdul. Can we have the slides, please? Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you today to introduce the Energy Access Explorer, the Energy Access Explorer for Nagaland. This work would not be possible without the continuous support which we have received in the state from all of you, as well as from the number of other key data providers and partners. We cannot overemphasize the importance of energy access for socio-economic development and vice versa. Energy is required for everything in our life, from storing vaccines to electrifying schools. So energy is very, very important. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So integrated energy is important to match the supply with the growing demand. It is in the most cost-effective manner. If we are to move from centralized and expensive energy carriers towards fluctuating, decentralized, and cost-effective renewable energy production, we need to understand the energy demand. And to effectively understand this, we need analytical tools that capture the key parameters of energy supply and demand and other parameters which are geospatial in nature, such as the what is the elevation, how are the road networks coming up. Next slide, please. So, the gaps we identified in the existing ecosystem of the energy services and the geospatial tools and platform. And we did a multi-year stakeholder consultation to understand what is the key requirement coming up. We started conceptualizing the platform called Energy Access Explorer. And there were three key parameters we thought are important to have a platform. The first one was to treat demand and supply as equal. Traditionally, the energy systems are supply driven, and it is also very, very important to put in the demand perspective. Otherwise, the energy solutions will not be viable for the utilities as well as the consumers, be it institutions or the households. It's and these if the supply and demand is treated as equal, it will be important to if this yes, for a viable and sustainable energy solution. These parameters are granular in nature, and we need to synthesize the granular data on energy demand as well as supply, and other geospatial parameters like topology, road network, environment. Second slide. Furthermore, it becomes important to reduce the reliance on geospatial data and programming. So ministries like health ministries, education department, IDAN can use the on-the-fly analysis from EAE to do the analysis and have the inputs without relying on the GIS expertise and programming. Next slide, please. Furthermore, we live in a resource constrained setting, and it becomes really important to have a open source solution which can provide dynamic information to the data providers. Here, when we talk about open source, the code in itself is available online in GitHub. Data can be open source or in password protected depending on the users and how do want to use it. The next slide. So we designed Energy Access Explorer to be a modular tool that considers the multidimensionality of energy access. Our vision is to provide geospatial data and technology and inform pathways to create a future where all people and institutions have access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy for achieving socioeconomic development. Next slide, please. So what is EAE? We have talked about EAE, but so it's an online interactive platform that enables different stakeholders to identify areas where energy access can be expanded and linked to socioeconomic development. It synthesizes data from several data sets from energy and demand. So we can see that we have the data from demographics, we have social productive uses like location of administrative headquarters, location of schools. We have data on energy resources. We can see the data on what is a global horizontal irradiance which is coming. We have data on infrastructure, what is a road network, what is a waterways which is available. EAE can host data at different resolution scales and formats. It also uses data from open sensors, remote sensing data, satellite data. We also can integrate data from different modeling platforms in the EAE so that we can have more holistic approach. Can we go to the next one, please? Yeah. So the main audience and the uses for EAE would be EAE visualizes spatial temporal data. It has an static energy agency planning where electrification planning agencies are being able to use EAE for an integrated and inclusive energy planning. Service delivery institutions like health, education, agriculture sector will be able to estimate the energy need. And it can also be used to prioritize where you need to provide electricity first, which are the areas which do not have electricity access or they do not have reliable electricity. Can we go to the next one, please? Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about EAE backend. So EAE backend provides automated data processing, which minimizes the resource requirement when it comes to harmonizing and integrating new data and existing data. It has a dynamic database and it's as an efficient storage system. We have a customized content management system which allows administrators with limited or no GIS programming expertise to add the data and the metadata. And we have a variety of base maps. A user can see a satellite view, they can see the simple view depending on what they want to visualize. We also have a modular API, an application programming interface, which connects the backend of the application with the front end and enables user to generate rapid high resolution visualization and analysis on the fly. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch a little bit about the platform. So the platform covers 32% of the unserved and underserved population globally. We originally prototyped the platform for 3 countries in East Africa, and now we have the platform in 14 geographies in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. In last 5 years, we have more than 220 close partnership with the government agencies and other development organizations like World Bank, AFD, and we have more than 15,000 returning users. What we do is we actually calculate the number of users who are coming again and using the platform. because that means the platform has been useful for them. Can we go to the next one, please? Yeah. So before I pass on the mic back to Abdul, I wanted to emphasize that the launch is the starting for us in the state of Nagaland. We want to have a sustainability plan wherein we do a short-term sustainability, we do user training in the terms of front end and the back end, wherein people can use the platform and get the inputs. We'll have a training material. We want to share the admin rights with the key administrators who can actually put in the data by themselves. We have an automated data processing where we'll do hand holding. In long term, we want to have a GIS working group which tells us how do we take the platform further, how do we expand the platform, what can be the different uses which will come. And EAE Nagaland should benefit from the technological advancements happening in other EAE geographies like in Jharkhand or Assam. We would also like you to invite you to join our EAE sharing committee where you can follow the progress, but also influence the future developments. All in all, we are very excited to continuing this partnership and close collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Akansha. For the presentation, I guess I'll be calling you once again later on for a live demo. So now I would request Shri Yekravur Kevichusa, IPOS Commissioner and Secretary of the Industries and Commerce Department, Government of Nagaland, to come upon and speak a few words. He is a 2000 batch officer of the Indian Postal Service. So requesting you to please come forward and speak a few words from your perspective role for the energy and the development of industries. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the time. Very good morning to all the participants here today, especially those on the dais led by our Chairman Aiden Abu Metha, our Development Commissioner Ramakrishnan also for sparing the time to be here with us. Especially grateful to the speakers before me who have spoken on the program today and also the requirements and the expectations that lie before us. From my end, I am always in favor of tools that enable transparency and dissemination of information. So in that sense, the EAE that has been the portal that has been launched today, I hope that end user departments in the government of Nagaland and also individuals will actively use this portal to enable their planning, coming from a department that is not a producer of energy, but is an end user of energy. I can say that most of our development plans are hampered by the lack of or the difficulties involved in three sectors, that is logistics. We also talk about the difficulties in terms of security because of the prevailing situations. But something that flies under the radar all the time is the lack of energy or the lack of access to energy. So as a department, we have faced problems in enabling our entrepreneurs to have access to uninterrupted energy. Sometimes a lot of our programs and a lot of our infrastructure fail because of lack of electricity. We have also started exploring methods of incorporating and enhancing and augmenting available electricity through solar energy usages. And I hope that we will be able to progress in these efforts through this portal, and also because now we see that there is a need for aggregating our efforts, not just for the Department of Industry, but for also for other departments. We see the need that it is better to use common facilities available. It is better to aggregate our efforts in certain pockets where
resources like logistics and energy are more readily available. I hope that this portal will enable us to make better planning on these issues, because what we see now is that there is working in silos for every department is leading to waste of resources, is leading to delays. So we are also talking about convergence in a big way in the government of Nagaland, and I hope that this portal will enable us to make better decisions on that regard, and also that it will help, our various departments to the availability of power, and also work towards enhancing and augmenting their own resources also. So thank you very much for this. I look forward to having our resources populated on the portal also, so that we will also see where we are. And I look forward to having a look at this portal now that it has been launched. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So now I would like to call upon Shri R. Ramakrishnan, sir, to speak on the energy and SDGs in Nagaland. So I'll just give a brief about you. Shri R. Ramakrishnan is a 1998 batch Indian Administrative Services Officer of the Nagaland State Cadre. He is currently the Principal Secretary, Planning and Transformation and Development Commissioner, Government of Nagaland. In his many years of service, he has served the Government of Nagaland in various capacities, including as Principal Secretary, Health and Family Welfare, Environment and Forests, and Personal and Administrative Reforms Department. He has also served as a Senior Deputy Director General, Senior DDG Administration, Indian Council of Medical Research under the Union Ministry of Health. So please come upon. Thank you.
Respected Chairman, I then Sri Abu, my colleague Mrs. Akansa, Engineer Inaho, our Joint Director NRE, Dr. Tetsio, Additional Director Health and Family Welfare, the GS team headed by Matang Kitan, the WRI team, dear friends, all the participants. Very good morning to everyone. We are thankful, grateful to WRI for coming with an app launched by our chairman, Aidan. SDG, of course, I have to talk about SDG. SDG, I think goal 9 says clear and clean energy. Of course, we have prepared our vision document 2030. We are working towards having a clear and clean energy. We are working in IDAN how to bring about clean energy. The trend is now we are not promoting conventional energy sources. We have to promote non-conventional renewable energy sources in the country. It is a global demand or need. Accordingly, our state also through IDAN, we are trying to bring clean energy sources in the state. In our state, our requirement in the peak demand is something around 200 megawatt, whereas our generation is only about 20 megawatt. So to fill up the gap, we are trying to bring renewable energy sources in the form of wind energy, solar energy, or any other kind of non-conventional energy sources. Of course, many investors from the country, outside the country, they're willing to come to invest in the generation of renewable energy sources. Of course, this portal and the platform will help us to identify the potential areas where we can go for right kind of energy generation in the state. Of course, there are some areas in the foothill sector we can go for solar energy. In the hilly areas, during the demonstration, they have demonstrated to us which are the areas we can go for wind energy, where we can exploit maximum energy sources through wind, through solar. Uh, of course, if you produce, we need our peak demand is around 200 megawatt. Through hydro, also our joint director is there. Through hydro, we have a minimum potential we can produce is around 2000 megawatt, small hydro plants. If you exploit our hydro, small hydro plants, we can easily produce minimum 200 megawatt immediately. So that will be able to meet our peak demand. In addition to that, if you produce more power generations, we'll be able to give free power supply to the industries, free power supply to the farmers at nominal charges. So to exploit these energy sources available in the state, I think this platform will help, will be helpful to us. We are thankful to WEI for giving us this portal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for providing us with those thoughts. Now, I would like to call upon Engineer Inahopi Awomi, Joint Director of the New and Renewable Energy Department, Government of Nagaland, to come forward and speak a few words on the status of the renewable energy in the state of Nagaland. He has been working in the NRE department since 1997 and started his journey within the department as project officer. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, WRI India team, for having me here to share status of renewable energy development in Nagaland. Respected Chairman, respected guests of honor, the Abu Meta, Chairman Aiden, and advisor to our Honorable Chief Minister. Respected dignitaries in the dais, respected ladies and gentlemen, a pleasure to be a part of this program. Please, to save time, I have not done a few lines to share with you on status of renewable energy development in Nagaland. There is a growing demand for power in the state of Nagaland. The present peak power demand of the state is about 180 megawatt. The state power requirement by 2025 is expected to reach 350 to 400 megawatt with a negligible generation of its own. The state has to depend mostly on the central sector allocation, about 140 megawatt, and the rest from the energy market, which is cost inefficient. Here, renewable energy solution can step in to provide the required electricity. Considering the renewable energy scenario in Nagaland, Nagaland is endowed with the enormous hydro potential sites. Many are yet to be exploited due to funding and geographically constraints. Hydro potential in the state is about 182 megawatt as per assessment made by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. The state-owned installed capacity on small hydro project is 27.64 megawatt. On solar power potential is estimated at about 7,290 megawatt as per the assessment made by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, based on solar radiation and availability of land, out of which cumulative installed capacity comprising on-grid as well as off-grid in the state is about 4 megawatt. On wind energy, estimated potential of wind energy is about 30 megawatt. As per assessment made by the NIWI, National Institute of Wind Energy. As a pilot project, 2 wind solar hybrid of 10 kilowatt each has been installed and is working. Another 9 sites, potential sites, has been identified. Biogas, around 3,220 units of biogas has been installed across the state. Some projects under proposal and ongoing projects are hydropower, 42 megawatt low diesel hydroelectric power, another 24 megawatt Zinki hydroelectric power, and another 24 megawatt Tizu Valley with a total capacity of 90 megawatt. All these 3 projects are at initial stage. On solar, 5 megawatt solar power plant, phase 1 at Hovuku village under Newland district, which is expected to commission by next month, August 2023. It's a state-owned project. We have another 5 megawatt solar power plant, phase 2, same site, Hovuku under Newland district, which is approved in principle and is expected to start the work by October 2023, this year, which is also a state-owned project. Another 10 megawatt biomass power plant is under proposal by a private developer at Tuli under Mugutung district. Due to a rapid increase in energy demand, the proposed renewable energy project in the state are planned to completion within a specific time frame, which will also contribute to meet the target of 50% energy requirement from fossil fuels sources by 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for providing the insights on the progress of the renewables in the state of Nagaland. So now I would like to invite Dr. Chakrashri Tatseo, Director Dental of the Directorate of Health and Family Welfare, to provide insights into the scenario of electricity in the healthcare system of the state of Nagaland. Dr. Tatseo holds a membership of the Dental Council of India and also holds a membership of the International Unions Against Tuberculosis and Other Lung Diseases. He is a convener of the 10-bedded ICU project in Nagaland and is also involved in the Chief Minister's Health Insurance Scheme and other CSR activities in the health sector. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman, for the introduction. Most respected guests of honor, Abu Mehta, Chairman, how you done? Respected Planning Commissioner, Ramakrishna, IAS, Director Kroger, Commissioner Secretary, Industry and Commerce, Engineer Akaho from NRA, esteemed members from YRI, officials from Defense Department, and members present here. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this program today. When my principal director asked me to attend this program, I didn't have any clue about energy access at all. So after I went through the concept note and also visiting the website, and again after a brief interaction with members of WARI India, I got to know that energy access is so important for Department of Health and Family Welfare. Because in every hospital, most of our equipment are run by energy. And then in many places, we do not have enough energy. Sometimes we don't have power backup. So when we don't have such facilities, some of our works come to a standstill. We have 12 district hospitals, 33 community health centers, 144 public health centers, 538 sub-centers. The department is trying to upgrade all the sub-centers to health and wellness centers. So out of 538 sub-centers, we have already upgraded 301 to health and wellness centers. But even the smallest health centers like sub-centers, we have equipment like refrigerators, to keep temperature-sensitive medicines and vaccines. But power cut is quite common in our state. And then many of the small health centers, they do not have power backup. So sometimes the quality of our vaccines are also compromised due to irregular power supply. And thanks to the donors, particularly during the pandemic, our district hospitals, we have, most of them have the most modern equipment, like ventilators, cardiac monitor, oxygen concentrators, oxygen plant, ultrasound, etc. But they all require adequate and regular power supply, not only for running, but they're also necessary for charging the battery to keep them alive. Most of these equipments are sensitive and prone to damage if the quality of power supply is not good. So mapping of energy requirement for our hospital, health centers is very crucial in order to run our equipment properly. And I'm glad that WARI, you have the tools and then you have the resources to map the energy requirement for all our hospitals in the state. I also want to state that we cannot solely rely on the electricity, and we need to explore the potential of generating renewable sources of energy, like solar and wind. And it is good that the WARI has already mapped the potential of solar and wind energy for all healthcare centers in the state. One day I met the Mantok and his friend from WARI, and then the demonstrator, they show me the mapping of the potential for wind and solar energy for all the district, all the health centers. So that resource is going to be crucial for us to when we speak to the potential investors. We're also thankful to the World Bank because they have installed solar panel in all the district hospitals and some community health centers. But we need to cover the rest of the community health centers, primary health centers, health and wellness centers, and sub-centers. So the department we simply do not have enough resources to do that. So taking advantage of the presence of our IDAN chairman, Abdul Mutasir, Our department will be very grateful to you if you could look at some potential investors for this sector for our department. And then regarding the MOU of health department with YRI, I think there is no reason why the health and family welfare department should not do it. Definitely, we'll sign an MOU with you and we'll try to do it in the earliest possible. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. I guess it will be a great honor for working with all of you. Now I would like to call upon Akanksha once again so that she can provide a live demonstration of the EAE platform for everyone present here.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to run you through the platform, how we are working on the Energy Access Explorer and where it can be accessed to. So the Energy Access Explorer platform can be available on www.energyaccessexplorer.org. So as we mentioned, let me zoom in a little bit. So we talk about integrated energy planning, and for that we are putting demand and supply together. In demand, when we talk about demand, we are putting the demand of healthcare institutions, we are putting demand of education, we want to put demand of productive loads. We also want to put demographics and administrative headquarters. So, and the same way we are putting the supply. So if you want to see the demand, I will zoom in a little bit. So we can see the administrative headquarters, which are in the state of Nagaland. And there's an option of clicking on the toggle button, and it will tell you the name of the headquarters, what is the designation, and what is the distance and which district it lies on. We can also see what is the metadata or the description of the data which we have selected. Like for this case, it talks about the location of the important administrative headquarters, and it includes the offices of additional deputy commissioner, commissioner, and the location of this is important in energy planning because it denotes the major demand centers for the power. So this kind of data can be used to identify where electricity is required, and we also have given the sources of the data. So this data, Nagaland GIS department has been very helpful to us to give us the data. So the same way we have the data on the population density. So we can see what is the population density of Nagaland. It talks about how many people are living in 1 square kilometer in the Nagaland state. If we go to Dimapur, we can see that in a particular area, there are 5,388 people which are living. And this data is the latest data from World Pop of 2022. So, and this has been collected using census of 2011 and how the populations are increased. So we are collecting the data and we are putting the population density. This population density is very important for the energy entrepreneurs or planners to identify where the demand is coming up and how can you supply energy to the demand of the energy supply. The same way we have, we got the location of the industries from IDAN, which talks about the different industries which are there and if they have an installed solar capacity. So like we have a project going on called Modern Aggregation Center, and it already has an installed capacity of 250 kilowatt of a system. So the idea is to put the data where the energy demand is coming and how we can put it there. So to match the energy demand, we do the energy supply. So let me just go to the supply. So in energy supply, we talk about the different resources which are available and the infrastructure which is already present. Say we have global horizontal irradiance, which is the amount of sunlight which is coming from the sun to the earth, which can be then used as solar energy to charge the solar PV panels. Yeah. And we can see how much of the energy is there for the state. The same way we have the data on small hydropower potential, where are the areas where there's a small hydropower potential coming up. We have given the mean value also. Then we have added the wind at 10-meter hub height. We have added the wind at 20-meter hub height. The reason to add the wind speed at different hub height is because of the different hub height, it tells us which kind of turbine is required and how much efficiently it can be used. So we have given a 10-meter, 20-meter, 50-meter, and 100-meter. Say for a hub height of 20-meter, if the wind speed is more than 4 meters per second, you can have a small wind turbine and it will produce electricity. So this is the way we have added the wind resource data. We have also added the data on the infrastructure which is present, the power plant which is in Nagaland. We can see the power plant here. And one, we can also check the data. So when we are saying that a particular data is available, we can actually go and check the data on the satellite map if the data is there or not. So if we zoom in on the location, we can see that there's a water body and there's a power plant. Next to the power plant, this is Doang power plant. And when you click on it, it will give you the name of the power plant, what is the capacity. If required, more data can be added, which was the year which the plant was started and how it is working. So the option is to actually visualize the data and validate the data from the satellite data imageries as well. That if you're saying some location is there, so is the location already present or not? So the same way, let me actually go back to the basic mode. So the same way, we have also added road network. So we have added road network for the whole state of Nagaland. We can see how well connected the state is and how people can commute. And we have also added data like, so we have mini grids which we got from in the Mon district, which had been established by our partners in Lokegi village in Mon district. And this was, the mini grids was given under MRDF project, and we have written that this allocation is something which we got from the primary survey which we had done, and this installation was done by MRDF project where they want to do overall development of the Mon district. And we would like to add more data if we can get data where the mini grids are installed, where there are already the plants are present. The same way, we also have mapped the waterways to see where how the water is flowing and if it can be used for transportation. So Energy Access Explorer brings in the data from demand and supply. But there is one more functionality apart from bringing the data. It's multi-criteria analysis. We do on the fly multi-criteria at 1 square kilometer. This 1 square kilometer can be more granular up to 10 meter depending on the requirement. So let me just take an example of how do we do multi-criteria analysis. Suppose we want to solarize schools. Let's see so if you go for primary schools in Nagaland, we can see that we have so many primary schools and they have been denoted in different colors. So the ones which are in green are the ones which have electricity. The ones which are in orange, they have electricity, but the electricity is not functional. And the red ones do not have electricity as such. So if you want to solarize the facility, one of the layers, if you want to electrify. Have you done a physical verification of the data? So, sir, not yet. So it depends. So this is the data we got from the education department. The location of the schools we got from the GIS department, and the latest data we asked the education department to share with us, and then we mapped the data. So
it would be great to have independent verification.
Yes,
not
sir.
Perhaps 100%, but
Yes. So yes, sir. So one of the filtering criteria, if I want to electrify all the schools or solarize all the schools, could be I remove all the schools which already have electricity connection, because that can be the second priority. UNDESA in 2014 came up with a report which said that if the electricity is not there in the schools, the dropout rate increases. So it's inversely proportional. And we have seen in Jharkhand, a study has happened. Girls there, they actually stop going to the schools once they start menstruating, because there is no electricity, there is no clean water, there is no sanitation, and the result is dropout and reducing in the SDG targets and the indicators. So if I want to solarize the schools, I can add the layer called global horizontal irradiance. So I have taken 2 layers at the time, primary schools which do not have electricity and which have electricity but are not functional. Just looking at this data, it is very difficult to say which should be solarized, which should not be. So we have an analysis tab, which allows you to identify which areas can be solarized. So this analysis is on the fly analysis. Right now, we just added the layers, and it will tell you the area and the population which are lying in the particular criteria. So let's go and change the criteria as well. So I want to focus on the schools, which the distance to 10 kilometers near the school, and for where there is no electricity. And I want to focus on here also, let's take 10 kilometers only. So the analysis of ours keep on changing. Now I know that if I want to solarize, it's important, it's good to have energy efficiency more than 1500, because it also impacts the system size and the efficiency of the system. So if I say that the minimum global horizontal radiance I want is 1500, we can see the changes on the ground, on the access potential. To solarize, we also need to go there, and there should be a way. So we can also add layers like your road infrastructure. And then we can say that we want to solarize the schools which are closer to the road or which are away from the road network. So if I want to focus on the schools which are within 2 kilometers of the road network, our analysis can be more granular and more, we can more nuance the analysis. So the idea is that the different planners, energy planners, and the school department can see all the data in a single place from the different departments and have an integrated approach to the planning. So what we have done is they can change the analysis and the criteria on the fly, and the result will also be on the fly. We have come up with different, and the analysis which we have done can be exported in form of an image. It can be exported in a form of a geospatial file, which can be analyzed further if we want. And this result can also be taken up back in the platform for further analysis. The platform also gives us the top location. So according to the criteria, which are the top locations and where we should focus on, we can also go to the district boundaries where we have the data in terms of let me go here. So we can also see at the district level, how are the schools which have electricity connection and not functional. We can actually change the filtering criteria and say that we want to focus on only the schools which are less than, which are more than 10%. So when we do the focus, our analysis, the focus for the analysis also changes. So the idea is we can go as granular and the change analysis on the fly so that the users can take the decisions. And for this, we want to do more training and capacity building so that there is minimal reliance on GIS expertise and programming. We have come up with 3 or 4 different kinds of access potential. So one is energy access potential, which is the combined average of demand and supply. So we can also see demand separately and supply separately. If we want to see demand, it will tell you what is the demand which is coming up from the areas. And the same way we can see the supply. So how is the supply? So when we talk about supply index is the weighted average of the different supply options which are possible in the area, and the users can take it. We also have added, let me go to the data part. Because Nagaland is very vulnerable. So what we have added is we have also added the historic seismic activity, landslide susceptibility, and historical landslides. So we can see where all in the previous times we have had the landslides in Nagaland, or which are the regions which are very susceptible to landslide, or which is the area which is vulnerable. So we can see the areas which are in green are less susceptible, and the ones which are in dark red are more highly susceptible. This data we have gotten from the Bhukosh Geological Survey of India. So we have collected data from Bhuvan, we have collected data from OpenStreetMaps, we have collected data from the GIS department. And this vulnerability data can also be used to plan the energy solutions or the planning in an efficient way that they are resilient to the climate change and the vulnerability which the state has. So that's where we have also added the landslide data. And we can see that which was the landslide, why it happened, what was the factor which was coming up. And we also have added the protected area. So the protected area works in a different manner. So protected area is like an exclusion buffer that we don't want to work on these areas, because these areas are the ones which have been protected by the government. So we can actually say, like Itangi National Park, we don't want to develop any work. So we can remove it from our analysis. So when we are doing our analysis, we can say that we don't want to focus on this particular area. and we can say that I don't want to focus for 5 kilometers of the area. And as soon as we'll say 5 kilometers, the area will get removed from the analysis, so that the users which they're using, and if an energy entrepreneur wants to come and expand their business, they know that this is the area we should not look at. This is the area we can go forward, and it will help us expand further. So I'll stop here and open the floor for the question and answer. So, one of the layers
Or take
which,
suggestions from the government.
yes, sir. So in terms of the suggestion, we have said, we have a discussion that we want to go into detail, which all layers we want to add, which is most relevant for the government's partners and the stakeholders. And then we sit together and add the layers. We also requested that we actually get access to the data, because whatever we didn't have, we had the access, we have already added in the system. But yes, we are open to the suggestion and
We'll have a
inputs.
sit down and do
Yes, sir.
each other.
Yes, sir.
GIS is here. You want to give some comments?
Any other question? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have a option of providing capacity building for the front end, and also to the GIS department, how to add the data by yourself, and how to be, how can they manage the platform, and how can we work together. And we'll be doing, if GIS department takes over the platform, we'll be doing hand holding for 5 years, and we'll be doing all debugging and issue solving and updation on the platform. Say,
Because most of the data is also dynamic.
yes, sir.
Like we have
Yes.
schools which have electricity but not functional.
Yes, sir.
There's a constant dynamic.
Yes, sir. Yes, so yesterday we had a training also. We had invited a representative from different departments to show the platform and ask what kind of data do you want, how do you want the training to happen, and do you see any further analysis which can help your work to take it forward.
This training program will be a collaboration with GIS mainly, so that you partner together to train the departments, so that both are in the loop.
Any other question from the audience?
Yeah, I have a question. You said this app will be an open source. So up to what extent can the data be manipulated, and by whom? Is it open to anyone?
Yes.
Can
So
I add to that?
yes.
Also, he mentioned the word app. Is it possible? I mean, that's a huge challenge because of the amount of data you have. But basic app also would be great. That is, of course, a decision not of here, but out there. But nowadays with Gen Next and everybody more dependent on apps and of course. Yeah. So for general users, apps are also very useful. But for the expert user, they'll of course go to the portal. But do you have an app, or do you have something on that on the anvil? Not now. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, you can take a step.
Yeah. So the platform can be accessed live right now. And what we have done is we have given the sources of the data, and from I can show you, say we go to the global horizontal adherence, you can see the data. We have an option of download the data from the source, So you can go to the data, you can learn more about the data. The data which is present here is already open source, but some of the data is not allowed to be downloaded, which we have procured from the GIS department, and some of the data which we got from different partners. But in case if you want that data, we can you can always write to us, and we can make the introduction to take it forward from there.
Yeah, and what are the primary sources of your data?
So the data has different sources. Like if we talk about global horizontal radiance, it is from global solar atlas. If we talk about wind speed, it is from a global wind atlas. If we talk about hydropower potential, this is the data we actually calculated in-house, and then we sat with the GIS department to validate the data. So we have also added the methodology in the data set. We talk about the road network. Road network is taken from OpenStreetMap. So the data is from national level, subnational level, from remote sensing satellite data, from varied sources. And for everything, we have given the data and metadata.
And you mentioned the source in every.
Yes, sir, we have given the source.
Do you also take from Google Maps?
Not yet. We have not taken.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Otherwise, we can close.
Thank you, Akanksha, for responding to the questions and walking us through the platform. Now, I would like to just thank everyone. So this turned out to be a great session, receiving the perspective of the speakers and listening to the challenges and aspirations of various departments they represented. We can understand how EA can be a vital tool. Yeah, it's there. It's there. So it can be a vital tool to help in integrating the efforts of energy planning for the state of Nagaland. Finally, I would like to call upon Engineer Matung Kitan, Project Director, Nagaland GIS and Remote Sensing Department under the Planning and Transformation Department, to come forward and provide the closing remarks for the session. Sir has a Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science and is working in the field of geospatial technology, remote sensing, GIS, and space-based application. He continues to lead cutting-edge research, development, and decision support initiatives in geospatial technology, contributing significantly to the infrastructure planning, natural resource management, and much more. Sir, please, I would like to invite you to the stage. And also, I'd like to invite Mr. Masfik Hazarika from my organization so that he can felicitate him on the stage. Please. On the stage, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson of the program. Respected guest of honor of our program, Sri Abu Mehta, Chairman Aiden, Sri Ramakrishnan, Principal Secretary and Development Commissioner, Dr. Kevichusa, Commissioner Secretary, Industry and Commerce Department, officials of the state government, organizers of this program, the WRI team, distinguished participants and friends, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all of you. Today marks an important occasion as we all came together to witness the launching of this Energy Access Explorer, an online open source interactive geospatial platform that holds the promise to transform the development landscape of Nagaland. The platform brought to life through the collaborative effort of WRI and various stakeholders is set to play a crucial role in propelling the state towards a better, brighter, and sustainable future. Our esteemed speakers, as well as the live demonstration that we just had by the WRI, have already highlighted the importance of this platform across different domains, from accelerating industrial cluster development to improving living standards and healthcare services, and for harnessing renewable energy potential to attracting investment. The Energy Access Explorer emerged as a catalyst for change, unifying stakeholders and agencies to work together, an integrated approach to development, perhaps a convergence platform. As pointed out by Commissioner and Secretary, Industry and Commerce, that we are faced with constraint on lack of energy and access to energy. It's time we aggregate energy requirements, and that the EAE portal will be an enabling tools to achieve of our energy plans. As stated by our Principal Secretary and Development Commissioner, where he reiterated the need to bring about clean energy such as solar, wind, and small hydro power plant to meet our state requirement, and that Nagaland has the potential to meet the requirement of the state. Also, as highlighted by Engineer Inaho, Joint Director, that the state to meet the power requirements, renewable energy has to step in, and how leveraging of renewable energy potential can lead to sustainable development. Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Tetsuo, Additional Director, explained that power requirement in the health department, though having the latest and modern equipment, but it requires proper energy supply. Renewable energy is the way forward, which can enhance the quality of healthcare services, particularly in remote areas. Having said all these things, the transformation requires a strategic approach, and that EAE platform should provide a solution to this crucial development plan by integrating from various sectors, including energy, health, and education. The platform will enable data-driven policy making, helping us to make informed decisions for accelerated development. I'd like to make a mention of our Honorable Chief of Guest of Honor, where he has shared us Honorable Prime Minister comment that without the development of Northeast India, Northeastern states, India will not develop. And he also pointed out the importance of the Northeastern, Nagaland and Northeastern states cannot be undermined in geopolitics. The state now has to focus on infrastructure growth and sustainable energy roadmap to be put into place. That EAE will play a vital role in these energy development plans of the state. While we cannot ignore or overlook the vital role of geospatial technology will play in the growth, progress, and development of our state, the State GIS and Remote Sensing Center will be at the forefront of this transformation journey, and its importance cannot be understated. Through the Energy Access Explorer and other platforms, we will be better equipped to tackle the complex challenges that comes with development. With accurate, up-to-date spatial information, we can optimize the utilization of resources, minimize inefficiency, and ensure that our efforts are directed toward achieving our development goals. As we can see from the brochure that is laid before us, the success story of Jharkhand and Assam in utilizing EAE highlights its transformative potential for development. Then why not us? Let us too embrace this technological advancement and work towards to accelerate development in our state. We are inspired by WRI established footprint across different states in the country and beyond. We are positive that EAE emerged as a valuable tool to guide us towards more prosperous and sustainable future. As we move forward, let us embrace the possibilities offered by the EAE and let it guide us towards future where development is not just a vision, but a vibrant reality. With our collective effort, I'm confident that we can create Nagaland that thrives on reliable, renewable energy, accessible healthcare, quality education, and sustainable economic growth. Before I conclude, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the WRI team and all the stakeholders who have been part of this remarkable initiative. The platform exemplifies the power of collaboration in innovation, and together we lay the foundation for a more prosperous and sustainable Nagaland. Thank you for being a part of this significant milestone of Nagaland journey towards progress. Let us forge ahead together with determination, enthusiasm, and a shared commitment to building a better tomorrow and for the generation to come. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Kitan, for summarizing all of that. With this, I would like to conclude the session, but before we all leave for lunch, I would ask the speakers to join together along with Mr. Bharat Jairaj on the stage so that we can have a group photograph before we move out. So. So Mr. Kiran also, please. So please.